Welcome to How We Grow, an essential playbook to grow and scale your vacation rental business with advice and insights from the best in the biz, with your host, Lynell Gordon. Welcome to How We Grow, the vacation rental show. I am Lynell Gordon, your host, and I have a very interesting guest. You guys are going to be thrilled. We haven't covered this topic before. Sarah Bernard, thank you so much for coming.
You're so welcome, Lynell. This is exciting.
So, Sarah is a very successful property manager. She's been in business how many years?
2008 is when we started.
So she has a lot of experience in vacation rentals. Sarah has a real estate company as well. And Sarah, tell me how that works with your vacation rental company. Is it synchronous? Does it help?
So it's interesting. We started the vacation rental business way before real estate. And I have to say, I was a reluctant real estate agent, I didn't want to get into real estate at all. A lot of people told me, you know, you're really good at property management. You really should think about getting into high-end real estate. You know, the way you interact with people would lend itself well to that industry. And I had zero interest. Zero.
I can relate to this, guys. Me too.
I didn't perceive the real estate, let me just say the real estate agent as a professional, as a business person. I came from a corporate America background, which I treasure and love. It was great training.
I did too. I get it.
Okay,
yeah.
so
I did too.
Lots in common.
Yeah, with that.
So to me, in my mind, and this is it's a terrible stereotype, and I almost hate to admit this, but in my mind, real estate agents, at least in the high-end luxury, this is totally contrary to what I know now. So
right, I know. I had the same. No, I get it.
We had this conversation. The real estate agent was your part-time, play tennis in the morning, showed a house in the afternoon, still in her tennis skirt.
No, yeah.
And it so I did not want to be a part. It wasn't something I was drawn to. I was definitely drawn to running a business. It's what my background was, an MBA. I have that kind of interest, I guess, in running businesses, and I wanted to be taken seriously. So
that's the word. See, now, guys, I know how many of us out there had that same thought before we practiced real estate.
Yeah.
So I had the same thought when I grew up at the beach. The real estate agents that were very successful, they were always really pretty people. I mean, they were pretty. The guys, the girls, they were pretty. They were playboys for the guys, the ones that I remember. And the girls were just really pretty. And I thought, I can't do that. I have a brain. And I didn't realize that. I didn't realize what selling real estate actually was until much later when I grew up.
And, and real estate it's a really, it's a great profession. So now looking back, I'm so thankful, and I'll tell you that story. But and a lot of people, there's a lot of people in real estate who have been in it for generations. And so I don't want to take away anything from that. I mean, it's truly a real business and has been for many, many people, but that was just my perception.
No, it was my perception too. I understand that. I don't know where that came from. It's totally contrary to the truth.
Yeah, and I don't maybe it's just real estate agents that we knew, like you said, on the beach, and I knew real estate agents who really were kind of part-time. They were maybe retirees who, whatever, it doesn't matter. But so I was encouraged. So I'd been in the vacation rental business. I'd had my business for, I guess 5 or 6 years. A friend of mine who runs a real estate brokerage in St. Louis, Missouri, which is where I'm located, really encouraged me. She said, you don't have to be a real estate agent. I told her exactly what I thought.
I know, right?
She was running a business, and she was not part of the stereotype. But so she said, you don't have to actually practice real estate. You can get a real estate license. You have all these renters coming in that are buying properties. You could be picking up referral fees.
Right.
Something I hadn't thought about, to be honest. And I was sending all of my renters who wanted to buy properties in the resort where we have our business to other realtors who worked there.
Sure.
I didn't realize this other income stream. So
you didn't realize it was a real income stream to start with. You don't know that until you're in real estate.
Right. So
it's the best income stream.
Yeah. So I got my real estate license, and anyone who's done it knows there's a couple different ways you can do that. You can actually attend classes. You can do it online. I did it online. It took forever, like 6 months. I mean, only because I took my time doing it.
I did mine in class, and I loved it.
And that's smart because
you get it
done.
Fascinating.
But in the course of studying for my real estate license, I realized this is actually a business. This is not about showing homes. It's about having systems and processes, having financial reporting, having goals and objectives that you're trying to achieve for your business. It's about growing that business just like any other organization. It had literally nothing to do with unlocking doors and showing.
Right.
I mean, it has some. I mean, that's one
That's
element.
That's a part of it.
That's a part of it, but you don't even have to, as the real estate agent or the owner of the business, be the person doing that.
No.
So I learned all that in the course of taking the class work for getting my license. So once I finished that, I went back to my friend, the real estate broker, and I said, could I actually work for your brokerage and do this? I'd really like to create a business around this. And she, of course, open arm, was happy to have me. But so then I paralleled the vacation rental business that I already had in the real estate business and watched that grow. And in the early days, I would hire help for my businesses because I couldn't really do all the aspects of both without additional help.
No, of course not.
So both businesses were continuing to grow. So we're acquiring properties on the vacation rental side. I was growing my real estate and learning about that. So I would hire people to help, administrative help and marketing, whatever. And everybody tended to migrate towards the vacation business, which was interesting. I really needed more help on the real estate because it was growing so quickly.
Yeah.
And
the administration part of that, when it grows like that, is exponential.
Yeah. So at the beginning, I really ran them under one umbrella and then two different LLCs, but really every person who worked in one worked in the other. Now, over the years, they are two distinct businesses, two separate P&Ls, two separate offices, two separate teams. I do have a little bit of hybrid overflow. My marketing person works about 20% of her time on my vacation rental business and the rest on the real estate. But we've grown both so much, and I love the real estate too. I mean, it's really been very interesting to grow that business and to see the opportunities there. But both work with each other very, very well.
Yeah, I think I really enjoyed talking with you earlier before we started the podcast because I took an 18-month hiatus from running my software company to start a real estate company because that's what I thought. This is what I really want to do. Once I learned what real estate was, I loved it. I mean, loved listing houses and selling them. And so I took an 18-month hiatus and started this company. And it was the most fun, guys, I've ever had. It really is because you talk about setting goals. There's a formula for getting there. And you can actually calculate how many houses at what amount you have to sell in order to make this much money or do this in your business.
Yeah, it's a shorter reward timeline than vacation rentals, and not to take away from that business, which is fantastic as well. But in real estate,
residential real estate,
right. You're listing a home, and you can pretty much, if you're doing everything right, in 6 to 8 weeks, you're going to be done with that listing. You're going to have a paycheck. And then you're moving on to the next one. You've listed more in the meantime or whatever.
Exactly.
But there's a shorter timeline. Vacation rentals, you acquire a property, you sign an agreement with the owner. They're with you for hopefully years and years to come.
Exactly.
And that property is going through its ups and downs, and you're having to manage it. And you have, whether you love that property or not, it's with you for a long time.
Built by property managers for property managers. Streamline is a powerful software that gives managers enterprise-level capabilities to drive more revenue and improve operational efficiency. Migrating to Streamline allows property managers to gain functionality while reducing the need for multiple vendors, improving flow by logging into a single system and reducing redundant technology costs. With Streamline, property managers achieve revenue lifts by leveraging our fully fledged communication center, reservations quoting system, revenue management tools, homeowner acquisition CRM, and powerful direct OTA connections. Streamline also has industry-leading trust accounting and report capabilities to give you clarity in an overall company performance. Learn more about Streamline Vacation Rental Software at streamlinevrs.com.
real estate, a property that's with you it's a short time span, so it comes and goes quickly. Does that make sense? So
no, it does.
It's just a whole different type of marketing, type of selling.
The P&L is really easy. It's like the easiest P&L you'll ever read.
Well, yes and no. It depends on,
most
if once you build your business, you have a lot of marketing, operations expenses, travel to conferences and meetings, coaching, consulting.
Oh, yeah.
It can get complicated.
Yeah.
But on this, it can also be very simple.
Yeah. So if you were to give people advice who maybe they're doing vacation rentals and they see that stream of income that's there for referrals, for sales, how do you suggest that they would get started? Because if they're running one of the companies, and you were, what advice do you have to them? Did you actually do the practicing of the real estate, or did you just say, okay, I'm going to be the broker?
Oh, yeah, no, I actually was a real estate agent at the beginning. So my very first listing was one of my vacation rentals. And so I already knew the resort so well. So it was pretty easy to jump in and start working on the real estate side and that particular geographic area. And so I did everything at the beginning. But it was very, very soon after. I mean, I would say within 6 months that I started hiring on the real estate business the only way to grow any business is to put money into it, to hire people to help you. There's no way vacation rental business is sane. You can't do it by yourself. You have to have people helping you. So it was the same. So, but knowing how to do it, and I'd say if there's any advice is, assume that you're going to be the boots on the ground at the beginning of any business, right?
Right.
You have to learn it, but know that delegating, bringing on new team members is going to help you grow more quickly, as painful as it might be to spend the money to do that. That's what led to my success early on with my real estate business, was putting money into that business. So initially the vacation rental business funded the real estate business expenses. Yeah. So it's a whole different kind of marketing. And then eventually the tables turned and the real estate business funded the vacation rental business. Right. It got to the point where I was okay breaking even on the vacation rental business because I was making money on the real estate. So you get a lot of, in my case, a lot of buyers from renters. So we started marketing to the renters to encourage them to buy at the resort. And then your property owners, if they trust you to manage the property, they're going to trust you to sell their property when the time comes, so you get business that way. So eventually in my business, the real estate business, actually, it didn't take that long. It overtook the vacation rental business in terms of profitability. And so it was okay that vacation rental business wasn't making a lot of money. I mean, it was breaking even or more so. We always turned a profit.
Sure.
But paying attention to that bottom line wasn't as important when I had one business that was really excelling and increasing in velocity.
And it's feeding the other. One feeds the other. They totally
feed each other. It's a great synergy. They're very different businesses.
Right.
One is very hospitality driven. The other is very marketing and negotiation. And you have to have a lot of business sense in the real estate business.
You do.
But so.
I have the highest respect for people that have real estate businesses now that actually run them well. They're very good business people.
Right, so we have to, we started off this whole thing talking about how much we didn't like real estate agents. So
yes.
For real estate agents out there, they are like, I know from, just doing it myself, you have to really be have a lot of finesse in terms of business.
Absolutely. You have to really be good at business to make, especially for those businesses that are growing. Commercial real estate, totally different. I knew nothing about, totally ignorant. I have friends who do that, and I have the highest respect for them. When I had to choose whether I was going to do residential or commercial, and I had to choose, I couldn't do both. I actually did all of my training through Keller Williams, which I think was amazing training.
Great training.
Yeah, the training there was phenomenal. And they actually train you for business as much as they do for anything else. They show you how to set your business up and everything. I thought it was really great.
It is, and I'm not with Keller Williams, but I did read, Gary Keller wrote a great book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. That was the first thing I read my first 3 months.
1,040 leads,
and
right? In your
literally
database.
it lays out the framework for how
It
to build
does.
your business. And
Yeah.
if you approach it as a business person, you have to be successful.
Yeah, I can't remember how many leads, 1,028, 1,040, something like that. The number of leads you have to have, active leads working in your database in order to make $1 million a year. It's a great book. And there's the book that came after that was called
so there was right there when
the
you
book
wrote
that came
the
out-
shift.
Shift.
Yeah.
Shift was the one that came after. And that book, that's a great book too.
Yeah.
Really good book.
And speaking of the shift, there was a shift in our industry
Sure.
in 2020.
Yeah.
And there was a point at which all of us who have property management businesses weren't sure if we were going to stay in business.
Exactly.
And some
It's so true.
didn't. And some countries, some states shut down. I know in our state, Missouri, my team, we were looking at the governor's website every day
Yeah.
to see if we were going to be shut down, and we weren't. And we just kept going, and everyone who was able to keep going, their businesses exploded.
Okay.
Right?
So yeah, that during that time, I was actually buying a house, and my husband, who was my fiance at the time, was buying a house. And when we bought our houses, they actually did the closing by lowering all the paperwork in a binder out of a window down to us. We sat at a table to do the closing
Outside.
outside. If I hadn't had real estate training, I think he'd have been a little
It was
lost.
terrible.
It was unbelievable.
We did parking lot closings. We would put the closing paperwork through to them in their car.
Exactly.
We would have to, in a closing, there's a lot of questions, right? Usually.
Tons,
and what does this mean? Where do I sign this? And our title people were inside. It was confusing.
It was.
But it
was
all
crazy.
worked out. We all adapted.
We did.
But during that time, up until then, like for years after, so I started in 2008, so now this is 2020, right? So a lot of years have passed, and my real estate business was really supporting the vacation rental business. A lot of our marketing expenses, I ran it through my real estate business, things like that. And then when 2020 happened and real estate came to a halt for a minute, at least a couple months, I went to my vacation rental team and I said, you guys now have to support this other business. I have a lot of employees. I don't want to lay anyone off, and it's up to you to keep us going because your business is still going. The real estate maybe isn't. We weren't sure at that point. And they looked at me on Zoom. We were all on Zoom at that point. At that minute, everybody had gone to work from home. Like deer in the headlights. Like, how are we ever to be expected to sell enough to support all of both your businesses? And I said, we're going to figure it out. We're going to sell next year. We're going to sell longer stays. We're going to do what we need to do. And it did work out. And it was a beautiful thing to see a lot of team members come together and help each other and to figure and be creative. And it was a great experience.
I tell you what, we've been through a few years, but the real estate business is going very strong now.
Yeah, real estate's interesting. The market, just with interest rates being a little bit higher, and some geographic areas, some cities, some states aren't. And some real estate agents are struggling right now, to be honest. And it's, but the one I always say,
I don't think they understand that they haven't learned negotiation. The newer real estate agents didn't. There was no negotiation.
Yeah, and I think in real estate, in any business, whatever you do today is gonna grow your business 2-3 years down the road.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
You have to constantly be building and marketing and growing and branding or rebranding your business so that you'll be successful in the future. Any kind of a short-term approach to any business is going to give you short-term results.
That's true.
Right? So you can't stop investing in your businesses at any point. So the successful real estate agents today, and there's plenty, and we're one of them, are the agents that have been creating that success for the last few years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Haven't stopped.
Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to share?
No, this has been great.
Look, if you guys are interested in doing real estate along with your property management, or if you're interested in what that would look like, can they reach out to you to talk to you?
For sure. Yeah.
How would they find you?
So Sarah Bernard Team, Sarah with an H, BernardTeam.com is our website. Phone number is 314-780-9070. That goes to our office, and happy to take field calls. LinkedIn.
Yeah.
We're everywhere. Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah. Well, you have to be. You're in real estate.
Yes, we're everywhere.
It's easy to find somebody's telephone number when they're in real estate. Well, thanks again. Thank you very much for coming. And guys, please feel free to reach out. We want to create a neighborhood of mentors. So if there's anybody out there that actually wants to come on the podcast and talk about something as far as how to grow the company and help other people to grow their companies, please let me know. I'm always looking for people that are interested in giving back and paying it forward to others. So thanks again, Sarah.
Thank you, Lynell.
This episode of How We Grow is brought to you by Streamline. To find out more about how Streamline can help grow your vacation rental business, visit streamlinevrs.com. Make sure to search for How We Grow in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found, and hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. On behalf of the team here at Inhabit, thanks for listening.